SCWRM squad, ready to roll. Coal on the scene here, so make way for the coal train or you're about to be plowed in for the pain train. That's a lot of trains, yo.
Oh yeah, now
how I miss trains.
that's another cool thing. That's another cool thing I like about Gears 3. I get to play as my favorite characters.
So, Dwibs, what about trains? Did it get cancelled?
No. It's just we're in the apocalypse, Joe, but there are no trains.
Well, there have been some usable.
Yeah, in fact,
war.
didn't we use a train in like the second
The
game?
the climax of the first game is in the Tron's train.
That too, yeah. And in the second game, there was that scene on that train we had.
Well, how long does that ago?
Are you talking about in terms
EE
of
Universe
commentating
2
or
years
in
ago.
universe? Sure could go for a cheeseburger for some reason.
Flying crates.
Well, you said I quit for a second there. Like, is that how members of the COG resign? I quit when they throw themselves in the path of a train.
Well, that's one way to quit, alright.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? Screw you. I quit. Choo-choo.
Goddamn drudges. Taste saw.
I cast the saw.
Taste the movie franchise. Grr.
Is it good?
It was for a while, but before they milked it beyond the point of complete stillness.
Oh yeah, think about it. Near the end of how shit, because of how shit it gets near the end.
Right. Oh yeah, this is another thing about this particular.
Monster.
This is another thing. This particular Lambent, you have to try your best to do a headshot. Otherwise, if you shoot the rest of it, eventually he'll grow tentacles and become even stronger.
Wow, so they can adapt. How nice.
Yes. Go.
Here we go.
I like them so good when they explode.
Yeah. So I'm guessing as in terms of being an evolution, you liked Gears 3, I'm guessing.
Gears 3 is by far the best game in the series.
Hey!
It's where the series peaked. And
Hey.
You can see that.
Oh, did you?
and unfortunately, it never reached this peak ever.
Hey, did you remember your handicap parking tag? Otherwise, you could get a ticket for parking in reserved parking like that.
Alright, I guess we're done here, so let's open this thing.
Let's just hope there's nobody waiting inside to ambush us.
Ew.
What smells like puke mixed with acid, mixed with mud, mixed with skunk innards?
Oh, listen here, I love this one. Here you go, here's what he was like back before this all started.
You ever feel like you did, nobody told you?
Damn.
Damn, I know, right? I love that line.
Wow.
Like,
I felt
good
that.
job.
Okay, let's see what they got on special this week.
That's the best line in the series to me. Like, that was genuinely profound. Good job.
Cole is definitely one of the most popular characters in the franchise, and it's well earned here.
Well, it's because, as you just saw, this, and we're gonna see a bit more of it even, he's the only main character that gets fleshed out in the original trilogy in-game.
Well, aside from
You know,
Marcus,
I don't know if they expand this even further in the comics or not.
they
At the
do.
very least, I'm glad at the very least this one character got the fucking backstory in the game itself.
I mean, to be fair, Dom got his backstory in like the second game, and Marcus definitely gets a lot of fleshing out in the games throughout.
Remember, Joe, that Pedro did mention that his supposed love story is only deepened
Well, yeah,
inside
yeah.
material.
Well, yeah, but that's one plot aspect. Otherwise, he does get drawn up for the most part well. That said, though, regarding Baird, I see your point.
Well, with Baird,
Although Baird's more...
I'll argue that with Baird I'm more okay with because, first of all, Baird is also going to have a little really cool gag with Sam later on. I always saw Baird as more of the wisecracker. He's not
The one
really
we
meant to
don't
be like
necessarily
the
need to know about, I guess.
Yeah, he's more like the comedy relief. I mean, you can argue that Cole is also kind of comic relief.
Well,
Okay, let me
Cole's
put
the
it like
comic relief, but the one with, you know... He's sort of like...
How about this? How about this? Cole,
Cole,
how about this? Okay, let's go with this. Like, the primary point of Baird as a character is to be the wisecracking jackass, you know? And as long as the writing is good, which it is, like even Gears 5 managed to get Baird correctly. So yeah, and as long as he's well written and funny, I'm okay with him not getting like a super duper backstory. But I'm glad that Cole got one in the game.
Like I said, regarding Dom, I feel like we got enough backstory regarding him and his wife for the second game. And considering what he gets to do in this game, that's interesting as well. That said, though, I will agree with you about the romance regarding Marcus. Like, well, I do feel like they do build up on Marcus, but regarding some certain plot details with him, I do see where you're coming from.
It's just because, you know, like it would have made the ending of this game, you know that one moment that right before the credits roll, like it would have made that moment feel a lot more resonant if I actually had proper context, you know.
I think
like,
it really just feel like, you know, it was a very in the moment sort of mind thought speech here and there. Granted,
I've also heard. Sorry, go ahead and finish.
I mean, okay, so the comics did start in 2008, though I don't know if there were any tie-in comics to Gears of War 3 here in this regard, but I'll admit, a lot of the writing for this does feel like a bit of that in-the-moment thing, and for all we know, they may have started development before the comics were even written, so I don't know what exactly the plan was regarding that.
I wouldn't know.
It's been a while since I've last played this game, so I don't remember how the romance is played out here and there. Like, well, I mean, I recalled it not being that bad, but then again, it's been a while since I played, so maybe I just don't remember it that well. I don't know.
I'll actually need to see it for myself, considering this is a kind of franchise where I kind of raise my eyebrow a bit, in a sense, when on the subject, in a sense of, I'm not sure a love story should be a top priority as a story to tell in this kind of setting.
Oh, no, I'm not saying
I can
you
see
need to
that
put,
too.
It's kind of like with One Piece. I'm sure it can happen, but not really caring.
Taylor, I'm not saying you need to make it like a primary focus of the game. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying. Okay, let me put it like this. Let's talk about Dom and his wife in Gears 2, right? Originally, I was thinking that we were gonna get more than just one flashback with Maria. You know, like kind of like how in Lost Future we had that gave us insight into how Herschel's relationship with Claire was like. You know, and then later when shit hits the fan, it's easy to be invested because you have full context of how they were. We get to see how it was Claire that gave him the hat, and the reason he adopted a gentleman persona is in honor of her memory. You know, so it gives a lot of good context. That gets us invested. I was hoping, when I first played Gears 2, I was thinking, oh, okay, so you're going to do something like that, right? You're going to show flashbacks of Maria and Dom over the course of the game, but no, they only show that one. I kind of wish they would have showed more flashbacks. Again, you don't need to put the romance in the front, you just need to have the occasional flashbacks throughout the game, throughout the story, and that will be fine enough for me. Like, just give me enough. Just give me enough context so that I have a basic idea of how the relationship was like, how they get along and shit. Again, just like Lost Future. You know, Lost Future didn't waste that much time in the romance aspect. It was, I think you could have managed to juggle both and not have the romance take over the dude bro aspect. It could work just fine if they did.
I honestly feel like we get enough context to their relationship for what's supposed to be like, well, a side character here and there.
Which brings me to that, to the fact that at that point it becomes subjective. What's enough for one may not be for another, and vice versa.
Sure.
Fair enough.
I actually remember I was watching a video made by a Halo fan talking about why Free for Free ruled Halo in his eyes. And one thing he did mention, again, remember, when I say this, I have zero context, so I don't know anything. I'm just going off of what he said in the video. But apparently the protagonist of Halo 4 dies in a comic book.
Wait, I actually don't know that much. I thought Halo 4 still had Master Chief as the protagonist.
Oh yes,
I
so
don't know,
yes, it does. It does. Basically, here's the problem with it.
Let me get the video so you can watch it for yourself later.
Basically, too, part of the problem with Halo 4 is like, well, you want an actual villain? You kind of gotta read the comic to get said villain.
Not you.
Oh.
I know what happens when
Mind you, I don't know that, again, I don't know that much about Halo, so I don't know exactly. I know only the basics, so I don't know where those people like Arbiter, the Flood, fit in.
Basically, the Arbiter is part of the Covenant, which is originally the bad guys, but eventually...
But then they turn to be the good guys when the Flood comes in, if I recall correctly.
Something to that thing. Basically, here's the thing. Halo is a franchise that prides itself, yes, on its gameplay, but also especially its story. It's like what a lot of gamers considered back in its time the ultimate combination of gameplay and storytelling. So to have a game that relied utterly on a comic was considered the worst disgrace. That is until Halo 5 happened. Then, oh, that's when...
Basically, everybody in the audience, if you want to know what video I'm talking about,
I'll leave the link in description.
Also, you can
tell it, but sure.
Well, you can tell too, but it doesn't hurt.
How 343 Industries ruined Halo? You should be able to find it relatively easily.
also look forward to our...
Basically, he explained something like that. Again, I have no specific context. I haven't played the games myself. I was just watching the video because I wanted to get a basic sense. I'm basically trying to get a basic sense of what are the primary problems with the 343 Industries games.
yeah.
Kind of like how I also use YouTubers to give me a basic gist of what's the problem with the multiplayer in the modern Gears. Specifically 5.
Basically...
Honestly,
To be fair, I haven't heard anything bad about Force multiplayer.
thanks to the advantage of being recent, the only Halo game I know did that deeply the plot is 5. It also helps that it's not that much as a plot.
Like I said, one thing we can give Halo 4 and 5 is that the multiplayers are still arguably good, unlike Gears of War 5. But still, though, because Halo is a game that also prides itself on having good campaigns here, having a bad campaign can also hurt its sales.
From what I've heard, apparently, something that people keep saying was that for Halo 4, the campaign was flawed, but still not that bad. But the multiplayer was apparently really bad on 4, and 5 was kind of a reverse, where the campaign was shit, but apparently the multiplayer was much better than 4's.
So it was about to pick your poison here.
Lack of side screen co-op. Yeah, like outside of that offensive, because
at launch he had also a bunch of microtransactions too, but from what I remember, they patched them out or at least eased them out.
Yep. Shame they didn't learn their lesson for Gears of War 5, but yeah, it was about to pick your poison. Would you like a Halo game that has a lackluster story and terrible multiplayer? Or a Halo game with technically a pretty good multiplayer, but the worst story ever for the franchise?
Well, it depends. Like, if you're someone who's mostly in it for the multiplayer, I can see that being...
Well, here's the thing, though. The general consensus is that people consider Halo 5 the worst game. Like, that should tell you how bad that campaign was. I mean, it goes back to the old saying for a lot of games here.
Honestly, at this point, I don't even know if... Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't even know if Halo Infinite is gonna count as the next mainline entry or just a simple speed-up.
Well, it has Master Chief in it.
They already told us there, it's a soft reboot.
Oh.
If Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite can count, I'm pretty sure Halo
That's a different story, Libs. Marvel vs. Capcom started having an official story barely with 3, and Infinite just can count as an origin story, I suppose.
Hey, you know, it's something to bring up Infinite. I was actually...
Halo Infinite is basically going to be 343's Industries' final chance to try to prove that it can actually make a good Halo game, because the fans are very, very doubtful of them, if not outright hostile towards them at this point.
Let me put it like this.
This is them not continuing what Bungie was doing, but instead soft rebooting so that they can actually do their own original take on the universe. So now they have no excuse not to get this shit right. So your last chance.
343.
343. And by the way, try to convince Phil Spencer that we shouldn't have full of microtransactions.
Well,
Yeah.
apparently, if according to Wikipedia, there's a second developer as well called Skybox Labs.
They're most likely doing the multi. They're most likely doing the multiplayer.
Yay, we got the food.
Basically, folks, for those who don't know, there's a reason a lot of people hold Halo near and dear to them. Now, yeah, you could say that for almost any franchise, but Halo is literally a console seller in the sense that it is
It's
the
Microsoft.
thing.
Well, at least it was for a while. At least Microsoft equivalent of
Oh.
Mario for Nintendo.
It
Hold on,
still
hold on.
is.
Helping hand.
Hold on, it looks like I need to correct myself. It says here, it continues the story of the Master Chief as the third chapter of the Reclaimer cycle. Okay, never mind. Turns out it's not a soft reboot.
So,
Oh, okay.
wait,
I remember hearing somewhere there was going to be a soft reboot, hence the name.
so
that,
it's
like a rumor mill
it's
pit?
essentially
Probably.
a trilogy conclusion because 343 started with 4.
I guess.
So,
I mean, why would you call it Halo 6 then?
I
don't
wish
know
I
either.
knew.
Well then again, that's the thing too. Now that I think about it, Halo 5 again, much like Gears 5, interestingly, introduced Locke as a new protagonist, and nobody liked that because they wanted to play as Master Chief, much like everybody in the Gears fan base wants to play as Marcus, or Cole, or Baird, or anybody from the original Delta Squad. So maybe that's the thing. They're going to self-correct and try to put Master Chief back in the limelight at least. Hopefully, maybe Gear 6 will have Marcus as the protagonist again. Who
That's
knows?
a big guy.
Oh, yes, for you.
Unfortunately, even if Gear 6 does do that, it will be Marcus Phoenix as written by Tom Bissell, and I don't trust Tom Bissell to write Marcus.
Tom Bissell's one of those
But
rare...
I'll get into that when we get to Gears 4.
Like I said, Tom's one of those rare kind of writers who gets exponentially worse with each installment. Like, and I do mean consistently
Jesus.
gets worse. And they just keep coming.
Oh yeah, basically. The basic gist of it, that giant black shoots really powerful bits of emulsion, so be very careful. He can kill you in just a couple hits.
Hey, Tio.
Yo,
Wonder what a Lambent version of that giant worm from Gears of War 2 would be like?
no please.
Yes, Cole, that's a Lambent.
Everyone, run!
Plenty of what we've been doing today.
Alright.
Because we did cold turn toward Australia.
Wow, well, Dwibs, gee, it's almost like there's an Australian on the group that I may be playing for.
Ladies and gentlemen, today Cole becomes an Australian.
No, Dwibs, I'm playing for Sam.
Quite what being an Australian, quite what changing your nationality into another one has anything to do with the plot at the moment, I don't know. But it's happened, so yeah.
Again, Dwibs, Cole didn't change nationalities, it's just that we have an Australian on the group.
She is
I'll
she.
have to make that-
He means Sam.
Dwibs, did
Yeah.
you forget that Sam is here?
Claudia Black's character, Dwibs.
Oh yes, it was in the game.
She technically still is, but is her actress a pure Australian or is she like a
Yes,
Kiwi?
Claudia Black is Australian.
Oh, okay. So again, if there's anything that Tarantino has told me is that you should never call the Kiwi an Aussie.
Because technically Kiwis and New Zealanders.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
Brazilian.
I'm pretty sure that pea shooter is not gonna.
Boom!
There you
Oh.
go. Turns out it did.
Alright.
You just gotta know where to hit him.
Oh, and she was in Rick and Morty.
Nah.
Yes, she was. Ow!
Oh my gosh, she was even the narrator in the OG version of Final Fantasy XIV.
Huh. That must have been interesting.
You mean Claudia Black?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Remember before Evan swore the entire cast of English voice actors were Americans.
Yeah, but from Heaven's Sword onwards, I guess the Americans
British.
were getting too expensive, so they shifted all voice acting to London.
Yeah.
That's just disgusting.
Well, hey, as a Brit in a country that gets
I
very few voice
already
acting gigs,
mentioned.
in general as it is,
I'm fine.
happy.
I'm actually fine. The voiceover is actually pretty solid. It's simply the shift in consistency, unfortunately.
Remember, we ain't
Especially because one of the characters that I actually liked from
I'm a call on this one. Cutscene.
from Canary.
Stinking Lambent.
Oh.
What the fuck?
Nope, not yet. Well, not yet. Almost though.
Why is the Carmine family always doomed to have their heads encased in
curse.
helmets?
Don't you people ever try gratitude? Just to break up the friggin' monotony of sarcasm?
Don't mind him. Someone stole his teddy when he was little.
Oh.
Everyone okay? Yeah, thanks for the help. We owe you. Hey, you're him, aren't you? You're Augustus Cole. Coltrane. What brings you back here?
Hey,
Oh, boy,
surprise
rousing
for me,
fan.
baby. Just passing through, looking for food. If you got any to trade, the cold trainers sure appreciate that.
All right, come on in. We haven't got any food to spare, but we might have something else you need.
So,
Bullets,
what is
ammunition.
Gears
Sure,
of
why not?
Supplies.
So is Gears of War 4 going to turn everyone cannibal and they eat each other because there's no food?
Well,
Fortunately,
good thing I wear a helmet. Boy, would have sucked if I didn't wear a helmet, right, guys?
yeah, totally. I love how the writers are playing with the fans' expectations on this one.
Anything we should know?
Well, Dwebs, no. At the end of this game, we'll win the war. So we'll spend like 20 years of
Let's
peace.
just say
So we'll
the
have
boss
time
over
to
there in
rebuild
Cog's
civilization a
hand.
bit.
You might just want to take a detour around her.
Maybe that's why the game changed
where's
the
people,
colour,
there's supply.
changed art style and colours
Hey,
in
you're
the next
cold
two
train.
games.
Maybe you'll
I
be
can
able to
kind
work
Maybe.
of understand that.
Ain't over
I
It's
can
like-
kind of understand that, but that doesn't excuse what's happening in Gears 5.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like how in the Star Wars prequels everyone say, "Oh, everything's too shiny," and I'm like, "Well, it's pre-war Star Wars." So...
Okay.
I don't think you're understanding, Dwebs. See,
Okay,
here's the thing.
it works for Gears 4 technically, and that's a huge technicality, but for Gears 5, it don't make any sense.
By the time Gears 5 is happening, we're already at
Funny,
war
there's a
again.
lot more
So.
land
But anyway,
behind
no,
us.
that's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. Allow me to ask a question. The problem with the prequels, some people like me have with the prequels, it's not so much art direction, it's more so... okay, let me put this in a way that you'll understand. You know how in the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, everything looks like dirty, everything looks like it's been there for centuries, you know, to make it look old, you know, and stuff like that. All that cool detail that makes the place feel all the more real. You know, if you go back to the original trilogy of Star Wars, there's also plenty of that there. Like the place looks like all the places look dusty, you know, and stuff like that. Whereas since a lot of the backgrounds in the prequels are generated through computers, George just let the computer run that perfectly pristine, like brand new, like there's no dust, there's no there's no grittiness.
Although,
Well, for the most part, we're in a giant planet made out of a city. So
Yeah.
a city planet for the most part, yeah.
and it does make sense that stuff will be cleaner considering the more pristine time there, whereas, again, with Gears 5, does not make any sense because, you know, we're in war times again.
No, yeah, but I got the perfect reason.
What?
In the future, all cleaners in Gears of War 5 are absolutely great at their jobs.
Aw, Cole's got fans.
It's good to be back.
See?
Well, this is his hometown, so...
I think I'll take that.
Well, it still makes you wonder, considering the statement he had in front of the cardboard. Like, is he genuine? It raises the question: is he genuinely enjoying the popularity, or you just need to put a face in order to, get the supplies?
I think it's more so the fact the point of that scene was to show that Cole misses the day when he wasn't at war and was able to just live his life and his career
There you go.
rather than just constantly be at war with the Locust and the Lambent. I think
Oh.
that was I figured that was the primary point of that line.
Nice one,
In
Cole.
regards to the whole feeling dead inside thing, yeah, that probably ties into how war feels like it's taken so many years away from him.
Yeah.
Look at him, he's had to shave his head and everything, too. Tell me that doesn't make you feel like you're dying
My
inside.
mama taught me some manners, son.
I partially relate.
Baird to KR-70. We got a bumper crop of ammo for pickup.
This is KR-70, roger that. Heads up, guys. There's some joker on Centennial Bridge taking pot shots from a gun turret. We're gonna get a wide
Okay.
berth.
That is not the weirdest thing we have heard today.
Oh, trust me. I'm on permanent guard around these assholes. Bear out.
You're just jealous because
Okay,
they're not fans of
next
you,
stop,
Baird.
Cougar Stadium. I'm feeling lucky.
Although, to be fair, they almost did kill Carmine, so that might be good reason to be wary of
by the
them.
gate. Can you open it up, please?
I'll
Appreciate that.
concede, right?
You're so good with the fans.
Your ego showing, Baird.
Oh,
Hey, more Lambent. Still feeling lucky, Cole?
You know, if we ever survive, remind me to smack Baird up the side for that one.
also Steely's teddy bear.
Ah, ha, ha, ha.
Well, come on. Yeah.
Well said, Carmine. Well
Jesus.
said.
What, you want my autograph, bitches?
We'll take it in bullets!
Holy crap, he just got out here.
Oh boy. He's going Dr. Octopus on us! Oh, and they...
More like he's going man spider on us.
Oh, by the way, yes, they can shoot flames from their tentacles too. That's nice.
Right.
These Lambent just hit the genetic jackpot now, didn't they?
Maybe.
Thank goodness they don't get along with the non-mutated
And look at
locusts.
that, Lambent snakes now.
Oh boy.
Or he,
They burn a little.
Good thing Indiana Jones isn't here.
Oh god. How much trauma do you think he'd be suffering right now with the sight of those?
Exploding snakes.
Why did it have to be exploding snakes?
My goodness, it's fucked up life. There we go.
Jesus.
And the Cougar Stadium is right there.
There we go.
You'd have no problem getting there.
Look, guys, the ball game ain't gonna be happening. You should come another time.
You have a lot more fans than we thought, Cole.
I know, right? Some fans even willing to kill. That's when you know you've got a dedicated fan base. Well, that's one way to make a bombastic entrance.
Alright, looks like we're done here. Hopefully.
Wouldn't it be funny if they were hiding inside that Oh, there you are. Speak of the devil.
This guy was just hiding there. There you go.
Clever, but not clever enough.
Looks like we're gonna have to cut through here.
Have I already expressed my guess that the alien invaders from Black were actually mutated humans or something?
I think in the
Yeah.
previous game, yeah.
Do I save that for when we get to Gears 4?
Come on, even the stranded gangs wouldn't take on a warship.
Well,
Actually,
we're not
already
like
did.
most people, Sam.
I think I already did something like that in my hypothetical Gears 6 plot.
That's the thing, Dwebs. Like, don't worry, the coalition thought of it too. We'll get to that.
Holy ground
I mean,
ahead,
well,
clear.
there are plenty of other things
Remind
Gear
me,
6
Cole,
could
what was
be.
your
I mean,
place again? Oh, yeah,
Gear
Lady
6 could
Field
be
Hockey,
nothing
right?
but
'Cause you
us
don't know
having to
Cole
watch
Ryan.
Cole
Bad
repeatedly
words
die
are
in a loop
straight.
for 10
You
hours.
didn't know any better.
I'll just say this: I have no idea what the coalition is planning based off of the ending of
plan-
Gears 5.
That's all I'm saying.
Like,
Honestly, at this point, it just feels like Joe. But don't worry, I won't spoil anything. Honestly, at this point, Joe, it just feels like they're trying to basically have their own Gears free, and try because Gears 5 clearly tried to emulate what Gears 2 was trying to do. So I'm guessing they're gonna try to have a big, satisfying ending. Oh shit!
well, dang.
These things just won't give up. All right, let's defend the bridge while Carmine takes care of that thing.
Alright, to all monsters who want to get an arse whooping, put your hands up.
Tentacles count?
Yeah.
Excellent. I'd like to kill you then.
Well, I mean, tentacles are a monster's arms and legs. And in some cases, heads.
Right?
Jesus.
Oh, I gotta give these guys an A+ in,
First distance. Huh?
yeah.
God damn, another one.
Jesus.
I think it keeps shitting out giant lambent.
Jeez, no wonder Adam Phoenix asked Marcus Phoenix, what the hell have you done at the end of Gears 2?
What the hell have you done?
You have to wonder what the locusts think all about this. On the one hand, hey, humanity is on its last legs now. On the other hand, look at what you gotta deal with afterwards too, assholes.
Alright. Thanks, Sam.
Hello?
MVP.
God forbid we go into the commentators area. Boy, this must be just memory lane for you, Cole.
29 hours.
He's still the hero.
15:29 out. Like PM or AM?
Even melt down his statue for scrap.
Aww, they
guessing
even made a
PM.
statue of him.
Yep.
Train? Shit, it's you. Wow, Cole, what are you doing back here?
Just be glad we did. We were recruited so much. We started wearing him as a god.
Hey, kid, keep it away forever, baby. Just checking everything's the way I left it, more or less.
We threw some good stuff.
Thanks, but I'll pass. Still on duty.
Yeah, gotta be sober so that I actually know what I'm shooting at.
Take you to see her.
Oh, the boss, eh?
Okay, we're in first person now?
It's to
just
give
for
you
this-
immersion.
Train don't go woo
Yeah.
woo. It's
Imagine if this was a film and they had to film this, like, by the way, guys, do you mind if I put the camera over your shoulder and pretend that my camera is your head?
Jesus.
Oh boy. Yeah,
Is it the usual procedure for point of view shots where it's just the camera shooting what it needs to be on screen and they have the voice actor record whatever his dialogue is supposed to be during that scene?
No, I'll say imagine if this was a live action movie and they did that.
It would be kind of iffy. Anyway, see you for the next part, everybody.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.